The YouTube channel Watcher may have just made the biggest mistake of their careers, and fans are extremely upset with the choices that they've made for their channel. It's a mess, so let's get into it. Today, we're talking about a YouTube channel called Watcher, which is run by Steven, Ryan, and Shane. Many of you may know them from their days at BuzzFeed with their Worth It series and BuzzFeed Unsolved. Eventually, they decided to move on from BuzzFeed, and that's when they created their very own production studio and YouTube channel called Watcher. On this channel, they make television quality unscripted series revolving around food, ghost stories, horror, and so much more. Of course, making the jump from a huge company like BuzzFeed and trying to do things on your own is risky, but they built up a loyal fan base over the years who followed them to their channel, and they've been very successful with it. They've been able to maintain very good views, and 4 years later, it seems like they still have a very dedicated audience. That's why fans were so shocked to see the video they posted the other day announcing that they were leaving YouTube. They uploaded a video titled Goodbye YouTube, where they announced they were officially done with their channel and were instead moving exclusively to their own streaming platform.
All that being said, we have realized that it would be great if we could find a way to rely less on advertising, not make it such a big part of our business. In terms of where this company is going and where I believe that we can be the most successful, YouTube is no longer the place for that.
For anybody who's watched or supported us to this point, truly, thank you. The goal was always to make television caliber quality content, and not just for YouTube, but for you guys. I guess we just hope you guys follow us this one last time.
To our very own independent streaming service, Watcher.
Here's the catch. If you're a fan of Watcher and you look forward to their videos every week, then you'll have to pay $5.99 monthly for their streaming service. They explain that since they're making these high quality series for YouTube, their overhead is really high. They have to pay for travel, they have to pay staff, filming permits, and they imply what they're making isn't enough to cover that anymore.
It's difficult to make the stuff that we want to make and also then appeal to the advertisers as well.
It costs a certain amount to make content in the way that we do it. We try to put things on the screen that we feel adheres to a certain level of quality that you would find on, say, a Netflix or something like that. First, we have to travel to the location itself. We have to pay the location fee. We have to pay freelance staff that comes to help us shoot that when we're shooting in the studio. We have to pay for the studio to shoot the actual episode in. Then we have to pay for post. Before that, we also have to do the pre-production of the episode. And when you add that all up, we're talking about an end of a season that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They explain that they decided to make their streaming service $5.99 because apparently everyone can afford that.
You can become a member of Watcher for $5.99 a month or $59.99 a year.
We want to keep the price low enough where anybody and everybody is able to afford it, but it also has to support the things that we do here. So that was the number that just made the most sense for the streamer.
Which is just such an out of touch thing to say. $5.99 USD is a lot, especially depending on your currency. I know that's over $8 Canadian, and that's just not throwaway money to most people, especially in the times we're living in right now. So you can see why people are so upset. Their comment section under this video is just filled with disappointed fans who feel like they're abandoning them over greed. We had people writing, "I don't know a lot about business, but I would suspect that a global cost of living crisis might be a bad time to impose a paywall upon your fans." And that's one major point that fans in these comments have been making. Many of them are saying that they don't watch their content because of the high quality. They aren't returning every week to watch the content because it looks like it should be on TV. They're returning because they actually love the dynamic between them. One person commented and said, "To be honest, the overly produced content isn't the one that got you a big amount of supporters. It's the chemistry between Shane and Ryan that made your content watchable. We were happy when it was just Shane and Ryan, just blue and yellow words on a black background, and a little room with a cork board and a mannequin. None of this was ever needed." And I feel like that's a problem a lot of these creators who started off at BuzzFeed run into. They try to mimic what made them popular on BuzzFeed without BuzzFeed's money, when in reality, the fans were watching them because of their personalities. I feel like somewhere along the way, the U got taken out of YouTube. There's so much content that's so overproduced and has huge production companies and corporations behind it, when it actually started off as being a place to broadcast yourself. It's the same thing with the Try Guys. Love their content, but I find myself watching the Tripod over their main channel content. If Watcher really felt like their produced content didn't make sense financially anymore, wouldn't it just make more sense to tone it down a bit instead of fully removing yourself from the platform that was free because of advertisers and then making your fans pay with their own money? Someone actually left a comment on their video and it was worded so perfectly. They said, "Buying gold flake covered ice cream off BuzzFeed's money was funny. Buying it off of ours is not." But a lot of fans are suspecting that this switch is more about greed and less about YouTube not making sense financially for them. A lot of their videos are getting well over 1 million views, they're 30 minutes long, which means they have the ability to place multiple ads. Not only are they making money through ads, but they're also making money through their sponsors. A lot of their videos have sponsorships on them, and depending on what kind of deal they have, they're probably making a lot of money. But it doesn't even stop there. Fans started to point out how they still have a very active and lucrative Patreon. On their Patreon, they have over 12,000 members with multiple tier selections.
They already have a Patreon account that they charge people a monthly fee to be subscribed to for additional content. If anyone wanted to subscribe to them, they already have, because they've subscribed to them on Patreon.
It really feels like every single show requires a specific streaming service and everyone is so burnt out. Streaming services like Netflix and Prime are constantly raising their prices. They're stopping you from being able to share accounts with your friends and family. They're honestly becoming just as bad, if not worse, than cable. And that's a huge reason why YouTube is still so popular. Watching a few ads here and there is nothing compared to actually having to pay for content, but at least with the streaming services, you do have access to thousands of shows and movies in every category. Why would someone pay nearly the same amount of money for much less content? I could see if you were just a huge fan and you wanted to support them, but isn't that what their Patreon is for? I don't know what these guys were thinking, but at one point they obviously thought this was going to be a hit because they actually posted a countdown to this news as if it was going to be some happy announcement. Fans are also pointing out how the CEO of Watcher, Stephen Lim, seems to live a very comfortable life. He has content on his Instagram showing him trying very expensive food.
Here's the thing about this place that I love. It's so dialed in on what it is. Cheers.
Uh-oh, it's good.
So good.
And all the comments now are like, yeah, enjoy it while it lasts because we're no longer paying for this. One comment said, "So I have to pay $6 a month to watch you eat fancy food that I can't afford?" Probably not the best thing to post before asking your fans to fund all of your future content. So far, they haven't addressed their fans' concerns, and the video remains up on their channel, so it seems like they may actually be going through with their plan. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about everything down below, and I'll see you next time.